Okay, so this time I try to change. So previously I was able to send you an activity without giving any lecture or without explaining anything about it. But today I prefer to give the lecture first, and then later on, probably this afternoon, I will give you the module for this particular lesson. So this is entitled Major Social Science Ideas. No? So before we proceed to our main lesson, we will do first a short uh, review of what we had last time. So last time, there is a structural functionalism, and then Marxism and symbolic interactionism. And we have written activity about this. But let me have first a review. Huh? Okay, so participants, if you wish to ask question, just say, "Sir, permission to speak," or "Sir, I have a question." That is allowed. Okay, so structural functionalism is a school of thought according to which the institution, relationship, roles, and norms that together constitute a society serves a purpose, and each is. So what does it mean? Our society is composed of different institutions, different groups, no? And we are all members of different groups. The basic institution that we have is family. We are a member of a family. So the structure of the family and the function that the person na has in particular with that institution affect the kind of relationship that we have in our society. So for example, if we are within the community of broken family, what have you imagined? We are all from broken family. Could it be the same if we are in a community uh, with non-broken family? Or for example, if we are under the institution wherein if we are in a community wherein we have a government that is not trusted by the people, compare it with the government wherein leaders are trusted by the people. So do you think they are the same? So that is what we mean by structural functionalism. We have the structure, we have the institution, and then the function of the people within that institution that affect the community. That is structural functionalism. And the structural functionalism can be applied to small groups, to bigger group, and to the society as a whole. So that is structural functionalism. The next one, a review of Marxism. What is Marxism? So it is proposed by Karl Marx. So it focuses on the struggle between capitalist and the working class. So who are the capitalists? Who are the working class? So in our own setting, that is what we call mayaman at mahirap. Nakikita nyo kahit ganyan?
Opo.
Hindi ko kasi makita yung mga nag-aano pagka
Yes po.
nakamaliit. Okay. So according to Karl Marx, there are the ruling class, the capitalist, or in our word in Filipino, mayayaman. And then there is mahirap. And for him, there is a struggle. And that struggle result to a bigger conflict. And for him, there will be a revolution, and that revolution would eliminate the capitalist class or the upper class, allowing the working class to rule the society. And that is what we call communism. Ito yung tinatawag nating komunismo. Ano? Sa komunismo, lahat ng tao ay pantay-pantay. Ano? Walang mayaman, walang mahirap. Lahat ng tao ay nag-exist doing the same thing in favor of the community. So for example, Kung lahat ay nag-aaral, lahat ay nag-aaral. Pero the same thing, kung lahat ay hindi nag-aaral, lahat din ay hindi nag-aaral. If the government structure as that you would rather be a farmer than an engineer, so you have no choice because it is the government that will choose what you're going to do, what you're going to have, what role in the society are you going to have. That is Marxism. That is communism. The next one, we have symbolic interactionism. So according to Max Weber, this perspective, in this perspective, people attach symbolic meaning to whatever social interaction or whatever we see in the environment. Symbolic interaction. Example, nakakita ka ng isang lalaki at isang babae magka-holding hands. Anong binigay mong meaning? Na? Sa isang babae at isang lalaking magka-holding hands, anong meaning ang pwede niyong ibigay doon? Sige nga. Sinong gustong sumagot?
Permission to speak po.
Go ahead, Troy.
Maaari pong yung meron po silang relasyon sa isa't isa.
Okay. So in other terms, magjowa. Ano? So that is the meaning that we try to attach to it. Ano? That is symbolic interactionism. Hindi pa naman natin nalaman kung whatever it is. Pero, even brothers and sisters, it is very unusual na they are walking in the street magkahawak ng kamay. In our society, it is really like that. If you are man and a woman, straight man and a woman of the same age, walking in the street holding hands, it is very uncommon. If you do not have a relationship, that is in the Philippines, but in other country, even friends could do that without, and they do not have malice. Ano? So nakikita niyo, symbolic interactionism. There is a symbol that we say, and there are different meanings that we attach to it. That is symbolic interactionism. Okay, now let's proceed. In our current lessons, we will start first with the status. So what is a status? The position an individual is expected to hold in a group or a community and the behavior that we expect from them. So status, ano yung status? Single, married. But single, married, widowed, separated. But status could be deeper than that. In sociology, we have two status. What are those? Described and the achieved status. So what is ascribed status? When we say ascribed status, that is the status that you earn when you are born and you cannot change it. You cannot change it. Example, gender, race. If you are a Filipino by race, you can be an American citizen, but still, you are a Filipino by race. If you are an African American, why do I say African American? Because it is not politically correct to say if you are a Negro. Huwag niyo sasabihin negro. Kasi pag sinabi mong negro, you are discriminating their complexion, yung kulay ng balat. At sa America, that is politically incorrect to say that they are negro, they are black. They are black American. We say they are African American. So, syempre, kahit uminom ka ng glutathione, you will remain an African American. So what are achieved status? Achieved status are something that you earn, something that you change throughout your lifetime. Example, education. If you keep on studying, you can earn good education. And if you have good education, you become prosperous, you become progressive in your economic life, then you can attain a higher social position. You know? So that is what we mean by the scribe and the chief status. And I think you are coming to school, you are enrolled in school because there is something that you want to change, and that is your achieve status, or you want to achieve something. Okay? Any reaction? Any question? Okay. So if there is no question, I will proceed. So the next thing that you need to understand is your rights, your duties, and your role. So what are the rights, the entitlement? What are you entitled to? Entitled to or not to? When you say you have right, you have the choice. You can do it or you may not do it. Example, the right to vote. The right to have education. That is your right. The right to have a good occupation or the right to practice profession. That is your right. But at the same time, it is inherent with that right not also to do that. If that is your willingness, if you are willing not to do it, like for example, if you right to vote, if you do not like to vote, that is also your right. Kasama lagi yon. Next, what are your duties? Duties are something that is expected or required for you to do. And you should always understand that when you have rights, you should also have duties. That is the limit of your rights. For example, you have the right to speak. You have the right to free expression. But then, it is limited by your duty to protect other rights. Because if we have rights and we do not have duties, what will happen to us is an anarchical society. Ano yung anarchical society? There is no control. You can do what you want. You can do what you like to do. And there is no group or government that control what you are doing. That is anarchical society. The third one is the role. The function assumed or part played by a person or thing in a particular situation. For example, if you are a leader, what is your role? To lead. If you are a follower, what is your role? To obey. The conflict within the society begin when we forget the three important things that we need to have: the rights, the duties, and the role. Okay? So, this is it. Now, let's proceed to the major social science ideas. We will start with psychoanalysis. So for those who will be taking psychology, this is very interesting. Now, what is psychoanalysis? Ang sabi ng matatanda, anong unang panahon, sabi, ikaw ay matanda na, ikaw ay nagbabata-bataan pa. Are you familiar with that? They will say, kung
Yes, sir.
kailan ka, oh, yun. Bigay ka nga ng example, Miss Ninia. Example ng sinabing matanda ka na, nagbabata-bataan ka pa. Give me an example.
Tulad, tulad po ng halimbawa po ng yung mga ginagawa po na hindi po dapat ginagawa ng matatanda, ay ginagawa niya po na dapat mas makakaintindi yung matanda kaysa sa bata.
Let's be specific. Ano yun? Let's be specific. Bigay ka ng example.
Tulad po ng pakikipag-agawan po sa pagkain, ganun po. Dapat
Ginagawa
na
mo, ginagawa mo ba
ipaubaya
yan?
sa kapatid po.
Okay lang ba yan? What do you think, Miss Opes? Okay lang ba yan? Nakikipag-agawa ka ng pagkain sa kapatid mo?
Hindi po.
Hindi, si Miss Opes. Miss Opes,
Hindi
what do
po,
you think?
sir. Hindi
Ha?
po. Hindi
Pero
po.
ginagawa mo rin.
Hindi po.
Oh, ang bait mo naman. Ikaw, Miss Plata. Miss Plata, nakikipag-agawa ka ng pagkain.
Po.
Kanino?
Sa kapatid po.
Sino? Si Kayla din? Ano ang pangalan ni Kayla? Cassandra? Kapatid mo ba yan? Kayla? Kapatid mo si Kayla Cassandra Plata?
Hindi po.
Akala ko kapatid mo. STEM yun eh.
Kaname lang po.
Kaname. Pero nakikipag-agawan ka ng pagkain. Okay. Ano? Ano pa? Maliban sa pagkain. Grabe kayo, pagkain agad. Ano pa yung mga ginagawa na usually sabi, ang tatanda nyo na, ang tatanda nyo na, tanda-tanda mo na.
Permission to speak po.
Go ahead, Lopez.
Para sa akin po, kapag nasa tamang edad ka na po, pero hindi ka pa rin po naghahanap ng trabaho at umaasa ka pa rin po sa iyong magulang.
Yun, oo. Ang tanda mo na, hindi ka pa nagtatrabaho. That is true. So ngayon, anong sabi ni Sigmund Freud? Balik tayo sa theory. Sabi ni Sigmund Freud, all people possess unconscious thoughts, feelings, desire, and memories. Kung nakita niyo yung kanyang illustration, using, ano nga yun? Using yung binanggaan ng Titanic, iceberg. Sabi niya, our conscious is like a tip of an iceberg. What do we see? Just the tip of an iceberg. Ano yung nasa ilalim nun? It's a bigger part of our consciousness. At ano yung nakatago? That is the unconscious. Sir, anong kinalaman nito doon sa sinasabi niyong matanda ka na ginagawa mo pa? Ang sabi ni Sigmund Freud, when we are young, or even today, we have unconscious desire that may not be fulfilled. May conscious desire tayo. And then kung kailan tayo tumanda, saka natin hinanap. And that is the time that we try to enjoy the thing. So kaya ang sabi ni Sigmund Freud sa psychoanalysis, let's take a look at the history of that person. What could be his hidden desire? What could be his unconscious thoughts when the person is still young, that is not fulfilled, that he is trying to fulfill when he or she grows old. Kilala niyo naman si Michael Jackson. Ano?
Po.
Po.
Okay. So, si Michael Jackson, sayang, hindi ko ma-play yung ano, yung video ni Michael Jackson. I-share ko na rin lang sa inyo ang ano, ah, ang link. Si Michael Jackson, kung kailan siya tumanda at kung kailan siya very successful in his career, he was able to purchase a big land. Parang pinangalanan niya yung Neverland. Neverland ka ngayon, Andrea?
Hindi ko po alam. Hindi ko napapakinggan sa akin kapatid po.
Itanong mo nga kung Neverland. Hindi yata. Na? Ano yun yung tanong, bakit siya bumili nun? Kasi, ang sabi niya, there was a lot in his childhood that he was not able to enjoy. Sabi niya, at the age of 11, when I am supposed to be playing, I am practicing for my concert. That is Michael Jackson. So, na-miss niya yon, na-miss niya makipaglaro sa mga bata. And then, what happened? Sa kanyang garden na yon, ayun, Neverland Ranch daw. Sa kanyang garden na yon, ini-invite niya doon ang mga bata at nakikipaglaro siya trying to enjoy what he missed when he was a child. So ano naging problema? Ang naging problema ni Michael Jackson, that is based on psychoanalysis theory of Sigmund Freud. Ang naging problema ni Michael Jackson, nung nagkikita niya na nag-i-enjoy ang mga bata, naiinggit siya. Naiinggit siya. Bakit hindi niya na-enjoy yun ng bata? And because of that, marami siyang ginawa sa mga bata na hindi naging mabuti. Like for example, kaya si Michael Jackson ay maraming child molestation case. Marami siyang kaso ng pangmomolestya ng bata. Bakit? Anong root cause nun? Yung kanyang inggit na masaya ang mga bata. And if you look at him, if you look at his childhood, based on psychoanalysis theory, makikita niyo na marami siyang mga desire, marami siyang mga activity na na-miss ng bata that he tried to fulfill in the late part of his life. That is psychoanalysis. At maraming taong ganyan, even sa Filipino, even mga artista, I cannot just put them as an example. I cannot just consider them as an example because, you cannot make a conclusion about a person unless he died. Because anything can change while the person is living. The aim of psychoanalysis therapy is to release repressed emotion. Ano yung repressed emotion? Ano yung bagay na hindi mo na-enjoy? Ano yung bagay na pinigilan ka? Sinong pumigil? It could be your parents, it could be the environment, it could be your economic situation to make the unconscious conscious. For you to develop again consciousness to understand yourself so that you start again. Sabi nga ni Michael Jackson sa kanyang speech, most of the problem that our society is having today could be rooted on their childhood. On childhood that was taken from them. I-share ko sa inyo yung video na yun. That is, he was given an award. That is very good example. Okay. Now let's go to the next. Rational choice. When we say rational, it means rational, reasonable, based on reason. Individual use rational calculation to make rational choices and achieve outcomes that are aligned with their personal objectives. You look at the people today, they patronize a politician. And when you ask them why, their choice could not be the reason why you do not choose them. Sabi ng isa, magaling si Marcos. Sabi ng isa, magaling si Robredo. Pero sa tingin mo, hindi sila. Why is it so? Because you have your own rational choice based and it is aligned on your personal objective. Ano? I do not know, but I think you will agree with me. Ha? Sabihin natin ang politiko corrupt, pero kung nagbe-benefit ka doon, ewan ko lang. Ha? Corrupt, masama ang ginagawa, pero nagbe-benefit ka. Ha? What do you think they will do? Ha? Tiningnan ko kanina yung result ng survey. Still, President Duterte is enjoying a very high approval rating based on the survey. And I try to understand why. I try to understand why. Bakit? Anong meron si Duterte? Meron si Duterte, pag sinabi niya, kahit anong mangyari, sinabi niya yun. And that is very Filipino. It may not be the voice of the educated people, but ordinary people, they would rather have a leader who is like him. Sinabi niya. Alam niyo yung hanggang sa huli. Kaya si Duterte at si Secretary Duque, ayun, hanggang sa huli daw. That is rational choice. This theory is often dominate across behavioral economics, but there are many economists who also study irrational choices. Irrational choices. Bakit? Tingnan nyo. Tanong nyo sa nanay nyo, sa lola nyo, alin ang mas mahal maligo noon o ngayon? Mahal ba maligo ngayon? What do you think? Mahal maligo?
I think
Yes, go ahead.
ang based po sa mga sinasabi po ng mga mas nakakatanda, sinasabi po nila na mas mahal po ang mga bilihin ngayon kaysa noon sapagkat noon po ay sa halagang 50 pesos po ay marami na po kayong mabibili noon. Ang pera po noon ay malaki yung value kaysa kung ikukumpara po ngayon. Kaya sa tanong niyo po kung mas mahal po maligo ngayon o noon, sigurado pong sasagot ay mas mahal pong maligo ngayon sapagkat ang tubig po at ang mga bilihin ay palaki po ng palaki.
Ako'y natatawa dun sa assessment na yun. Nasabi ay, during the time if you have 100 pesos, you can already plan a wedding. Tama yun. Pero, ang mga nagsasabi nun ay hindi nila naintindihan ang economics. Hindi nila naintindihan ang inflation. Kasi, what I mean is, when you try to calculate using the price, you have to understand the inflation rate, the purchasing value of the money. Yung purchasing value. Bakit bumaba ang purchasing value? Siyempre, kino-compare yan sa dollar. Yun ang ating basihan eh. Okay. So, what do I mean by mahal maligo noon kaysa ngayon? Mahal maligo ngayon kaysa noon. Kasi noon, pag ikaw ay naligo, may shampoo, may sabon, tapos na yun. Bibihis ka na, pupunta ka na sa dapat mong puntahan. Ngayon, tingnan niyo ang babae kung gaano kadami nang ipinapahid sa katawan bago makalabas, makapunta sa gustong puntahan. And why are they doing that? Because that is what they think is good for them. That is their rational choice. And because of that, anong sabi ng commercial? Maganda ka naman, pero mas gaganda ka pa din eh. Gamitin mo aray, mas gaganda ka. Gamitin mo aray, mas puputi ka. You take this product and it will be good. It will make you better. That's why until today we cannot simply we cannot simply distinguish what is a need and what is human want. Pinag-aralan niyo sa economics, ano yung human need, ano yung human want. Pero bakit ganun? Because that is our rational choice. Kahit sabi ng economist, that becomes irrational. But for us, it is our rational choice. It become our personal objective. And it is based on our personal objective. Sabi nila, corrupt yung tito mo na mayor. Oo nga, nakikinabang kami. Sino iboboto ko? That's it. That is what we mean by rational choice. Sabihin, ang mahal-mahal naman ng lotion na yan. Dito ako hiyang eh. Okay, so that is rational choice. Next is we have institutionalism. It considers the process by which structures, including scheme, rules, norms, and routine, become established as authoritative guidelines for social behavior. Let's make it as an institution. Let's adopt a rule. Let's make a norms. Kaya nga like for example, ang social media. Ano ang social media? Before it is an ordinary thing like this. Pero when they see that there are people abusing the social media, then let's make a control of this. Let's control. Let's try to hindi naman control. Let's have it in moderation. To avoid abuse. O siguro na-experience nyo nung isang araw, nagsara ang Facebook, nagsara ang Messenger. Bakit? Because in the US, they were accused that they prioritize profit over concern. Kasi sa social media, kung anong nakakatuwa, kung anong nakakagalit, mas pinapatulan yan, mas sinusundan ng mga followers. And then it is leading the people, especially the young people, to something that is not good for them. It encourages depression. It encourages hatred among the young people. Kaya nga nung isang araw, nagulat ako sa social media. I am into social media. Sorry lang sa marami sa inyo na hindi ko hindi ko ma-accept yung pag-a-add dahil mahigit ng 25 years ako nagtuturo. Ang dami ko na naging estudyante. Nag-add lahat sa akin yon. Hindi ko naman mabitawan yung iba. Yun. So kaya nakita ko nung isang araw, sabi, may i-share akong news. Sabi ng you are sharing it without opening. Do you want to continue? Hindi ko pa naman nababasa yung detail ng news. Nakita ko lang yung i-share ko na agad. And that is the control that they are doing. Because they try to institutionalize. Saan ba nagsimula ang Facebook? Ang Facebook gusto lang nilang mag-share ka ng picture, may magla-like, may magko-comment. That's it. Yun lang. Pero ngayon, sa Facebook, naroon na ang business. Naroon na ang classroom. Now, they want to institutionalize. They want to put a scheme, rules, norms, routines. And then in the end, medyo nagiging authoritative na yun. Pero it's better to have an authority. practicing control over people than no authority at all. Because if there is no authority, we are living in anarchy. Nag-usap kami dati ni Troy. Sabi ni Troy, Sir, bakit to ang yung tablet na binigay sa amin ay may, ano nga ba yun tinatanong? Sir, bakit to may word? May
May
power.
best.
Di ba yun?
Ano po ang
Lopez?
message?
Oh, may
Meron.
messenger. Nagtatanong siyang gano'n. Wait lang ha.
Hello?
Lubrika Andre.
Okay, sana yung sinasabi ko yung kay Troy. Sabi ni Troy, Sir, bakit po may ganito? May ganito. Sabi ko, we requested the division office. I personally make a letter. Sabi ko, i-open nyo po ang messenger. Bakit? Kasi kailangan po namin yun sa communication sa student. Because, in Alangilan Senior High School last year, we have student as far as Isla Verde, we have student coming from Talahib, mga Malibayo, malalayo yan. Wala kaming catchment area last year. That's why we have 1,200 grade 11 student. At kaya may catchment area ngayon, dahil sobrang nga ng dami. So, yun ang basic mode of communication. So, what if the student does not have a cell phone? How can we reach that student? So, if they are given this tablet, then they will use it, because primarily the idea of the division office is they will just put that the module in the tablet and then i-access ng bata na ganun. Sabi ko, ang problema po ay kahit po hindi module na ginagamit ng bata ay naroroon at napupuno ang memory. Like for example, if you are ABM student, wala ka namang calculus, naroon ang ng calculus, napupuno ang Sabi ko, turuan nyo, hayaan nyo pong ibukas ang basic Microsoft Office, yung PDF, PowerPoint, basta yon. Ipinano namin yun. And then we were granted at hindi lang nila pinayagan na full yung messenger. Sabi nila, just for communication, then you will have messenger lite. Bakit? Anong iniwasan nila? Kasi, if you have a tablet, kung meron kang tablet, at walang ganong rules, what will happen? You can do everything you want. You will be using the tablet for games, not for educational purposes. So kaya yun, may mga scheme, may rules, may norms, and routines. And then they become established as authoritative guidelines for social behavior. Pero syempre, kahit ganyan, alam niyo naman ng mga Pinoy, may nakakalusot pa rin. Hindi nga inopen ang Facebook, pero alam ko may nakaka-open sa ano nga yun? Sa Chrome daw. Explain how these elements are created, diffused, adapted, and adapted over space and time, and how they fall into decline and disuse. Ano? So nagkakaroon ng rules, nagkakaroon ng standard. That is institutionalism. So yun ang isa sa mga idea that we have in social science. Institutions provide the rules for the game and define the available ways to operate by discouraging, constraining, or encouraging given behavioral patterns. Sa mga nanonood ng basketball, may bagong rules ang NBA. So nababaguhan si Harden. Pag iniunat niya yung kanyang paa, pag siya nag 3 point siya ay foul. And they have an impact on decision-making process in giving indications of what would be acceptable or not, and in determining the individual socialization of norms and behavior in a given society. What is the problem with institutionalism? Siyempre, ang problema lang dyan, when you institute something new, there is always reaction. Ano? Sabi nga ni Mr. Conrado Inigo, Vice President ng Lyceum dati, Lyceum Manila, Vice President for Academic Affairs, sabi niya, the problem with the Filipino is we are very much reactive. Ano daw yung reactive? When there is something new, what we do is to react. Dapat daw tayo ay proactive. Ano yung ang reactive, ang attitude mo ay, ala, pangit yan. Ala, hindi yan maganda. Ala, it will not work. Pag proactive ka daw, ang iyong attitude ay, let's find out. Let's see. And if it's good, then it is acceptable. Okay. Now, under institutionalism, there are three pillars on which society are built: the regulative, the normative, and the cognitive. What is regulative? Formal and legally codified. In-established formal. So lahat yan may rules. 'Di ba? You look at our religion. If you are a Christian, you see how religion was first institutionalized. Sino nag-institutionalize ng religion? It is Moses. How did he begin with it? Ito ang batas ng Diyos. Ito ang 10 Commandments. Yun ay sa Genesis X. Sa Exodus. Ang Genesis, anong history? Paano nagmula? Ang Exodus, nasan yung ano yung mga rules na binigay ng God? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, yun, naroon na yung isang damakmak na rules na dapat i-observe. Bakit? Because they are institutionalizing. And then later on, they are gradually internalized. It become part of a person. They become used to it. And then the last part, the cognitive, it becomes the accepted norm. Yan na ang standard practice na dapat sundin ng lahat. That is the process of institutionalism. The regulative, the normative, and the cognitive. Okay? Next we have, ito interesting, feminist theory. Ang feminist theory is based on the conflict theory. What is conflict theory? Ang conflict theory, ang sinasabi niya, in everything in the society, there is always a conflict. A conflict between the rich and the poor, the powerful and the powerless, a conflict between, tingnan nyo nga, ang hangin, pag dalawang magkasalungat na hangin ang nagsalubong. Pag-aralan niyo ang weather, anong meron? Intertropical Convergence Zone. Pag yung init at yung lamig nagsalubong, anong nabubuo? nabubuo ang bagyo. So anong sabi ng feminist theory? Based on the conflict theory, there is a men, there are men and women, and men establish patriarchy. Anong patriarchy? Patriarchy, the superiority of men over women result to oppression of women. O, yan ang tingin nila. Ang mga kababaihan ay na-oppress because of the power of men in the society. Kasi kahit tingnan nyo nga naman sa Bible, you look at Jacob. Ilan ang anak ni Jacob? 12. 12 lalaki. Pero that is not true. If ano din sa Bible, hindi lang lalaki ang anak ni Jacob. Merong mga babae, but that is not highlighted because they do not take a major role in the development of the history of Judaism. And under the conflict theory, it is oppression for women. Because they are not recognized, they are oppressed. So according to the conflict theory, in the feminist theory, patriarchy is a system of power that organizes society into a complex of relationship based on the assertion of male supremacy. If you read all the records in history, it is really dominated by men. So yun ang pananaw ng feminist theory. Because of male supremacy, women are oppressed. Gender stratification. Anong gender stratification? Gender classes occurs when gender differences give men greater privilege and power over women, transgender and gender non-conforming people. Like for example, sa Amerika, sinong naglaban sa presidential primary? Si Obama at si Hillary Clinton. Are you familiar with that? Sinong nanalo sa primary? Si Obama. Sinong naging presidente? Si Obama. What is with Barack Obama? Barack Obama is a black, is an African American. What does it mean? Ang ibig sabihin nun, the Americans are ready to have an African American as president, but they are not yet ready to have or to elect a woman president. Yun ang implication nun. And then the next election, naglaban uli si Hillary Clinton. Si Hillary Clinton at saka si Donald Trump. Actual election na yun, hindi na primary yun. Naglaban sa election. Sinong nanalo? Si Donald Trump. What does it mean? They are not yet ready to have a woman president. Hindi pa sila ready doon. But in Britain, they are ruled by a queen. Wala silang king. Sino kanilang ruler? Queen. And they elect woman prime minister. Nag-elect na sila ng woman prime minister. Bakit? Kasi ang ruler nila queen, hindi king. So meaning they are open to that. So that means they are not giving greater privilege for men over women. Sa Pilipinas, So it's the same. We recognize women. Sa educational system nga, karamihan women, di ba? Okay, makikita niyan. Sinong galing Batangas ay? For a very long time, sino ang inyong principal? Ang inabot niyong principal, si Ma'am Ochoa. Tapos ngayon si Ma'am Aida Gutierrez. So, women leader. So, yun. So, what does it mean? Yung feminist theory, we have placed women in our society in equal role and in equal opportunity with men. Okay? So that is feminist theory. Now let's have the next one. Hermeneutic phenomenology. What is hermeneutic phenomenology? Hermeneutic phenomenology is the word Herme is based on Hermes. Hermes is a goddess who is a messenger of God. Phenomenon is based on experience. Ang sabi ng hermeneutic phenomenology, our most fundamental and basic experience of the world is already full of meaning. What do we mean by our stay in this world? Based on our lived experience, is it temporary? Is it permanent? Are we going to stay here for 1,000,000 years? 1,000,000 taon ka ba dito? We are entrapped in our world and immediately experience our world as meaningful because our world with its people, its history and culture, its event precedes any attempt on our part to understand it or explain it. So our society gives us a meaningful experience, an experience that become our means to understand this world. Ako'y nagulat dati. I have a friend in the university. Gusto ko lang itong marinig pero ayokong inyong sundan. Ang nakalagay daw sa Bible, God created man in His own image. Sabi niya, parang hindi. Parang man created God according to His own image. Sabi ko, bakit naman? Man created God according to His image. Sabi, sino bang nagsabi na ang Diyos ay lalaki? He's referring to God the Father. Sabi niya sabi ko sa Bible, sabi siya ay lalaki, kaya nga siya ay ama. Sabi niya sa akin, siya ay lalaki kasi siya ay powerful. Siya ay lalaki because during that time, the powerful person in society is a male. Sabi ko, oo, tama. Sabi niya, pero tinuro ka sa Bible na God is a spirit. It does not have form. Paano ika nagkaroon ng gender ang isang spirit o ang isang form? Sabi ko, ba't naisip ni Moises na siya ay lalaki? Sabi niya, because Moses tell the people that this is God and God is a male. So Moses created God in his own image. Natawa ko. Sabi ko, mukhang may sense. So bakit ganon? Because that is the experience of the people. Because that is the way They understand God. So ngayon, anong tingin nyo? Bakit daw nagkakaroon tayo ng global warming? Sabi nila, sinisira daw natin ang environment. Sabi naman ng isa, kaya nagkaka-global warming, nabubutas ang ozone layer. At kaya daw tayo nabubutas ang ozone layer because we are burning things that produce the CFC or the carbofluoro. Ano ba yun? Alam yun ng mga science major. CFC. Chlorofluorocarbon. Yun. Kaya daw nabubutas ang ozone layer. Pero nakita nila na doon sa isang tapat ng Earth na hindi naman nag-i-emit ng CFC, ay nabutas din ang ozone layer at merong part na na-repair, something like that. Sabi naman ng isa, if you look at the history of the Earth, global warming started 2 million years ago. Kasi ano ba meron ng 2 million years ago? Nung 2 million years ago, the Earth is covered with ice sheets. That is the Pleistocene period. At simula nun, unti-unting natunaw ang yelo. At hanggang ngayon, diretso yung pagkatunaw ng yelo na yun. Kita nyo, why is it that we have contrasting idea about things? The main answer is because we have different experience. And each experience has different meaning. It has different meaning. Tingnan nyo. Sinong pinakamagaling sa giyera sa buong mundo? Sige nga. What do you think? Sinong pinakamagaling sa giyera sa buong mundo? Sino ditong...
Permission to speak po.
Go
Sir,
ahead.
country po ba or person?
Country.
For me po, USA.
USA. Sige, bakit USA? Interesting.
USA po kasi yung resources po nila is far beyond our resources. Para pong yung mga yung mga machineries nila is far
More developed.
far more developed than ours po. Rather
Okay.
po sa other continents.
So you compare USA with the Filipino. Ano? Magaling talaga ang US. That is very good observation. Any other opinion? Sino magaling sa giyera? Do you share the same with Mark Josen? James San Pedro, what do you think?
North Korea po.
North Korea, why?
Kasi marami po silang nukes at yung soldiers po nila ay sobrang ano po nila, magagaling. Sobrang advanced sa mga tactics, sa mga combat at kung ano po.
Okay. Pero alam nyo, sino sa akin ang magaling sa giyera? Alam nyo kung sino? Just
Permission to
recently.
Sino
Yes.
po?
Yes, Andrea. Are you saying something?
Mongolia po.
Bakit Mongolia?
Dahil dahil po kasi one time po, sinabi niyo po na ang Mongolia po ang nagkikip sa China together dahil po dun sa isang leader po nila. Sila po ang nag-unite po ng China.
Okay. For everybody's information, Andrea Romina is my daughter. Yes, magaling ang Mongolia. That is during their time. Alam niyo kung bakit? Pero niyo naman, the only country that conquered China. Laki ng China. But that is during their time. That made them think to build the Great Wall of China to prevent the Mongolians from coming. Kaya na Great Wall of China sila. Pero kino-contest ng iba yung idea na the Great Wall of China was built by Shi Huangdi to keep the soldiers busy so that they will not think of overthrowing the emperor who is Shi Huangdi. Yun daw ang idea ni Shi Huangdi. Let's make the soldiers busy. So let's build a wall. Bakit magtatayo ng wall? Kasi para hindi makapasok yung mga Mongolian. Yun ang sinabi niyang reason sa mga tao. Pero ang totoo, para busy yung mga soldiers, para hindi sila mag-isip na palitan yung emperor. Ganun kasi ang uso sa China dati. But yun ang for me. In terms of war, sino ang pinakamagaling? Pinakamagaling sa war ay ang Israel. You know why? Basahin nyo, simula panahon ni David, nakikipaggera na sila. Sino ngayon ang gumamit ng missile na pag pinaputukan ka ng ibang bansa ng missile, ay sinasalubong ng sarili mong missile para sa ere sumabog. Sinong gumamit na nun? Ang gumamit ng Israel. I do not know the United States if they have that. But I think that was also developed in partnership with the Americans, yung weapon na yun. Ngayon, ang question, bakit sila ganon? They have to prepare. Bakit? Because they are always at war. Bakit sila lagi nasa gera? Basahin niyo ang Bible, nakasumpayan. Dahil sila, I may be too religious. Dahil sila ang piniling lipi ng Diyos, pero sila ang pinakamatigas ang ulo na laging tumatalikod sa Diyos. Kaya sila ay pinaparusahan. Anong parusa? War. They are enslaved by the Babylonians. They were captured by the Romans during the time of Jesus Christ. They are under Augustus Caesar. Augustus Caesar. Yun ang emperor ng Rome at sila ay under ng Roman Empire. Kaya lagi silang nasa gera. So, ano yung kanilang experience? What is the meaning? Pero bakit hindi sila magapi-gapi? Kasi ang sabi ng God sa Bible din, ikaw ay muog at walang bansang mananaig sa'yo. Hanapin niyo sa Bible, naroon yun. So that's why, kung merong resilient people, resilient sa war, that is the Israelites. Are Filipino people resilient? Yes. Why? Because we have a lot of calamities. Sabi nga ng taga Zamboanga, Diyos ko po, may bagyo pala. Sabi ng mga taga Bicol, may bagyo pala. You see, just by that expression, they have different meaning to bagyo. Ang Zamboanga, nakakatakot. Kasi bihirang binabagyo ang Zamboanga. Pero ang Bicol, pag hindi binagyo, bago yun na. That is the meaning. In research, it aims to bring to light and reflect upon the lived meaning of these basic experiences. Bakit ganito ang mga tao? What is their lived experiences? Ano yung kanilang karanasan? What is the meaning they associated with it? Researchers attempt to describe phenomena as they appear in everyday life before they have been theories, interpreted, explained, and otherwise abstracted. Before, they do not accept phenomenology as a theory, especially sa philosophy, kasi nga you cannot standardize experience. Ah, because that is based on locality. Anong kahulugan nila sa kanilang experience dito? Anong kahulugan ng taga rito sa ganitong experience? That is hermeneutic phenomenology. The last one is the human environment system. System which combine both human and natural component to show complex interaction and feedback between them. Human and environment. That is called human ecology. How do you conserve the environment? How do you conserve our human resources? It is predicted that in the next 20 years, one of the biggest problems that we have in this world is food. Pagkain. Gutom na kayo, ano? Problema ang pagkain. So ngayon, anong solusyon? Anong solusyon sa kakulangan sa pagkain? Is it the production is getting short, or is it because the people multiply very fast? Nauubos ang ating forest. Sinong number one na nag-uubos ng forest? It is the people. So in this framework, we are studying the DP-SIR model, the drivers, what drive the environment, the pressure, the state, the impact, and the response. Ano yung drivers? Like for example, what do we need? We need the home. We need houses. That drives. The pressure. People, number of people are getting bigger. Alam niyo nung panahon ni Marcos, nung kami estudyante, ang dinidiscuss sa school, ang aming tahanan. Ano yung hitsura ng tahanan? Ang tahanan ay may ordinaryong bahay, may harapan, nagwawalis ng bakuran. Anong problema? Sa Metro Manila, ang mga bahay walang bakuran. If you are in a squatter area, wala kayong bakuran. Pressure. Ano yung pressure? Yun na yung pressure. Ang bilis dumami. What is the state? Ano yung kalagayan? Many people are homeless. What is the impact? Because they are homeless, it creates a lot of problem. Problem about education, problem about health. And what is the response? Who will do the response? The government, the community. So yun yung DP-SIR. Drivers, pressure, state, impact, and response. Nasa huli yung response. The problem with the response is usually it's too late for us to respond. Okay? And then, to continue, human society attempts to problem solve in order to remove, reduce, or prevent the drivers and pressure, restore the state of the environment, and mitigate the impact. Again, reduce or prevent the drivers, the pressure, and restore the state of the environment and mitigate the impact. Okay. So these are the concern of social science. These are the major social science ideas and theories that we need to understand for this subject. And I hope you learn from it. If you have a question, go ahead. If you have something to clarify, then the table is now open.
Sir, permission to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
May I ask po why um yung about po sa genders under po siya ng ascribed status.
Okay. Bakit ang tanong mo, bakit ang gender ay under ng
Ascribed status.
ascribe? Ayun, gender. Kasi hindi mo pwedeng palitan 'yun. You can only change your preference, but you remain a male or a female. Halimbawa, oo, ganun yung mga nagpapa sex change. But yun lang, yung hitsura mo, yung thinking mo, yung ano. That's why we separate gender from ano nga yung isang term doon? Sex. Kasi pag sex, male or female. Pag sinabi natin gender, preference mo yan. If you are a male and your preference is being a female, you are a homosexual. Yun yung category nun. Ngayon, hindi mo na mapapalitan because if you are born biologically as a male, you remain a male. Kahit magpalit ka ng magpaturo ka ng female hormone, male ka pa rin. Kahit magpatanggal ka na yung sex organ, papalit ka ng bago, you remain male. Siguro in papers, pwedeng ikaw, I do not know. I have not seen a person who was able to change kahit sa legal papers. Wala pa akong na-meet na ganun. Sana may ma-meet ako para matanong ko kung paano yung proseso so that I can explain in my future lecture. Laging ang yan laging ang questionably ang yan gender as ascribed status. Pero yun lang ang sagot doon. Pag tinanong mo naman religion, iba ang pananaw ng religion Ayoko na mas nakakasakit sa maraming tao. Kasi sa religion talagang men God created man. God created man and woman. Yun lang dalawa yun Kaya nga sa Muslim, because they are very traditional, pag ikaw ay nag-deviate sa being man and women, you are sinning against God. You deserve to die. Ganon sila ganon sila ka traditional sa kanilang pagtingin doon. So yun. That's why it is ascribed status. Go ahead, Troy.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other things you want to clarify? So kung wala na, so thank you very much for coming. I hope you learn and have a nice day. Enjoy your lunch and then ingat lagi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.